After I was admitted to college, my relatives and friends took turns to congratulate me, but my sister-in-law cried. She wiped her tears and choked and said, "We have to pay attention to fairness in everything. When I get married, you say you treat me as your own daughter, so should Miaomiao and I be treated equally. It's all a loss of money. Why can she go to college when I graduated from junior high school?" But when it comes to the destination of the notice, she touched her pregnant belly and made a request. "Let my brother go up. He is flexible and can keep up with the progress. Otherwise I will cut off the incense of your Lin family." Her parents couldn't stand it anymore. They cursed and took the broom to sweep her and her brother out of the house. "Whatever you want. My family doesn't have a throne to inherit. Get out of here." Now someone wants a bamboo basket to wag water for an empty game. 1. On the day I received my favorite 985 admission notice, my parents held a banquet at home to entertain guests. Relatives and friends congratulated me and my parents with smiles. They repeatedly praised me for being sensible and promising. I smiled and thanked them. Until the 3 rounds of drinking, when I reached out to receive the guest's happy red envelope, my sister-in-law suddenly put down the bowl heavily and cried on the dinner table regardless of the occasion. The lively field was suddenly flooded with cold water, and everyone didn't know why and didn't dare to make a sound. Brother Lin Hao hurriedly wiped her tears and coaxed her distressfully. "Oh, my little heart, is the baby's little bastard making a fuss in his stomach again?" She shook her head, raised her head with a pale face, and tears fell silently. "Husband, I'm just worthless for our family. There is a number in the heart of each family who exchanges people. In theory, these red envelopes should be given to my family's Yuan treasure after 4 months. Today Miaomiao got it, and Yuan Bao received fewer blessings when he was born. My son is obviously the great meritorious minister of the Lin family, but he was bullied by his aunt before he was born. It's so pitiful." As soon as my sister-in-law opened her mouth, I knew that she was coming for me again. Yuan Bao is my unborn little nephew. According to my sister-in-law, he was a boy, so he decided on his baby name early. I don't understand. She has been married for half a year. I, a senior in high school, focus on studying every day. First, I don't spend much money, and second, I don't make trouble. Why can't I get along with me? Usually I did well in the exam. When my parents praised me, she also cried, saying that I didn't have a good opportunity because of my life, otherwise I would definitely be able to go to Tsinghua University. I don't have to teach my son early and waste my life. Later, my parents didn't let me raise my grades at home. I added an extra bowl of rice, and my sister-in-law took out a small notebook without saying a word, saying that since she got married, every needle and thread in the family was hers. In the future, when I got married, I had to ask my mother-in-law's house to get it back. She also often blew the pillow wind, which made my brother dissatisfied with me. The couple looked at me before I graduated from high school. If my parents hadn't been furious and stopped me, I would have been married to a second married man with a baby and become a stepmother. There are countless such things. And the brother, who has always spoiled her, will never be indiscriminate. Sure enough, my brother glared at me fiercely and said, "Did you hear me? Hurry up and bring the red envelope here. If you are still a person, you shouldn't steal your little nephew's things." It's like this every time. On a good happy day, she has to put on a bitter melon look, as if everyone owes her. Bad stuff. My heart was full of unknown ghosts, and I didn't bother to get used to her. As soon as I dropped my chopsticks, I scolded. "Cry, cry, 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 cry. Cry all day long if you don't like it. This family's blessing will make you cry." 2. Lin Miaomiao, you are against the sky. Who are you? How dare you talk to your sister-in-law like this? If you don't have any respect and inferiority in your eyes, I shouldn't let you read. The books have been read into the dog's stomach. I sneered. An unemployed nomad who has been gnawing for many years is really interesting to open his mouth. Let my relatives and friends watch the excitement, and I was also angry in my heart. I was not willing to show weakness but choked. "You really put gold on your face. Do you dare to open your mouth to spray dung?" Seeing that the atmosphere was turbate, my brother rolled up his sleeves and wanted to teach me a lesson. The parents who came out of the kitchen with the dishes listened to the ins and outs and hurried forward to play the round. Miaomiao said a few words less. Mom acted as a peacemaker and turned her head to smile at her sister-in-law. "Lingli, don't worry, our relatives don't care about those etiquettes. No matter how much you give Miaomiao now, you won't lack Yuan Bao in the future." Relatives nodded hurriedly and said, "Ah, they all have all of them." Sister-in-law Lu Lingli wiped her tears. "That's not what I said. All the brothers, sisters-in-law, uncles and aunts are here to judge. Now that Lin Miaomiao has given me the money, Yuan Bao can take today's one and the future one. Do you think this is the right one?" So Lin Miaomiao still took the money of Yuan Bao. "If you don't spit it out and return it to my son today, I will never end it with her. I'm going to strangle it." This set of distorted theory can be taken out. You must be crazy about money. Perpetual motion can be regarded as making her understand. It seems that Lu Lingli is determined to take out money from my pocket today. The relatives shook their heads, let alone nodded. They looked at each other and couldn't speak. Mom gave a solution again. Let's do it. Mom will make up for it for you, and Yuanbao can also get double. The sister-in-law screamed, Mom, you really think I can't bully me? Your money and Dad's originally belongs to me and Lin Hao. You just take the money out of my left pocket and put it in my right pocket. I'm not stupid. Dad has always been unintrigued with family chores, and all of them are solved by Mom. But he had a good face. A good meal was made like this. Looking at the strange eyes of his relatives, he couldn't stand it. At this moment, he patted the table and couldn't help but get angry. Enough, what's yours mine his, we're a family, we should help each other, what's the matter? Do this as your mother said and then target Miaomiao. You two get out of here now. At least my father is an executive of a listed company, so he doesn't get angry and arrogant. The brother-in-law shut up, shrank her neck, and didn't dare to speak like a quail. 3. In the second half of the party, except for the sister-in-law's face, everyone was happy to exchange glasses. I thought this was the end of the farce, but I didn't expect that my sister-in-law's lively mind did not stop at all, and her crooked idea was much more than that. The banquet was over, and the relatives went back to their own homes. I was considerate of my mother's cooking, so I asked her to rest first. When I cleaned up the table and washed the dishes, I passed by my brother's sister-in-law's room and heard a movement inside. The sister-in-law's soft and weak voice sounded, Dad, Mom, it's not that I'm mean, but she can't go to this university. On what basis? What is Lu Lingli? It's her turn to intervene in the results of my hard study and bloodshed for many years? Despite the burning of anger, I suppressed my temper and continued to listen. I want to see what kind of demon she is going to be. Looking through the crack of the door, I saw that my brother also nodded and agreed. Although I have never eaten pork, I have also seen pigs running. After 4 years of college, the optical expenses and living expenses are more than 100,000 yuan. We are going to be born on the BMW. At that time, milk powder, diapers and clothes will be an expense. Our family can't afford Lin Miaomiao, who is an adult and has to eat old people. Thinking with my toes, I know that my sister-in-law taught him this. Lin Hao himself is also a fool and has no independent thinking ability. Since his sister-in-law entered the door, he has completely become a puppet manipulated by his sister-in-law's will. Obviously, before my sister-in-law came into the door, although I had no blood relationship with him, we were not as close as ordinary brothers and sisters, but we had never had a quarrel. Hearing this, my father's face suddenly changed. But his mother pressed his hand and signaled him to stop talking and wait and see. Then he whispered and comforted. Although Miaomiao is an adult, he has not yet entered the society. We should be responsible for it, and you and your father will pay for this money so you don't need to worry about it. Mom! The sister-in-law sat up straight in an instant, and her voice was sharp and harsh. Why don't you reason when you are old? Lin Hao is the boy in the family. He is the one who throws basins and flags for you. Your money is ours. Isn't it the same as using our money to send her to school? Lu Lingli put her broken hair behind her ear and said naturally, and according to our rules, Lin Miaomiao is so old that she has to look at others. Isn't a woman's task to get married and have children? If you read too many books, you will become a loss of money that no one wants in our hometown, and the dowry will have to be halved. What the hell? I won't go to the $1 million dowry in my sister-in-law's poor ravine where women have no status. What's more, I have a better future waiting for me to explore. I pushed the door open, and the anger in my eyes was like substance. I said unceremoniously, What are you? You also want to marry me? Why not? I'm still a college student. My eldest sister-in-law, Ru's mother, has never heard of it. I not only want to be the master but also give me your dowry. Sister-in-law Shiran opened her mouth, as if this was a natural thing. I couldn't help picking up the pillow and smashing it at her. Keep your mouth clean, my mother is still alive. Okay, it's all a family. Harmony makes money. Harmony makes money. Lingli, it's not her mother's bias. This score was won by herself. She can get it if she wants to. No one is qualified to be the master for her. My mother is always like this. For the sake of family harmony, she swallowed her anger and even suffered a lot of injustice with me. But Mom doesn't know that concessions are only useful for those who are measured. Lu Lingli, a self-interested person, will only fuel his arrogance. 4. Sure enough, the sister-in-law curled her mouth and tears fell down. She choked and said, We have to pay attention to fairness in everything. I'm married and you say you treat me as your own daughter, so should Miaomiao and I be treated equally? It's all a loss of money. Why can she go to college when I have a junior high school diploma? I understand. You didn't treat me as a family at all. Then I'll leave. I don't think my Yuanbao should be born in such an uneducated family. This made my brother heartbroken, and he hurriedly hugged and comforted him softly for a while. My sister-in-law finally stopped crying, and my brother turned his head and scolded me again, eager to swallow me alive. Lin Miaomiao, get out of here quickly. As long as you come back, the family will be restless. You are the one who should get out. I'm really convinced. No wonder the two of them are a perfect match. They really don't find their own problems at all. 10,000 steps back. It's his adopted son who has no blood relationship. In those years, my father and friend Yang Jingyuan were tricked into going abroad. As a result, only my father escaped. And that friend was left in the land of flesh and blood and cannibal without blinking. When Lin Hao's mother learned the news, she swept away all Yang Jingyuan's property without saying a word, and then directly threw Lin Hao's oil bottle in front of my house, which has never been asked over the years. Dad cares about his friend's reputation. After being rescued, he always said that he was saved by his friend. But what about in fact? This is a scam organized by Lin Hao's biological father from beginning to end. Yang Jingyuan had already boarded the thief's ship. As an intermediary, he tricked his most trusted friends abroad. Fortunately, his father was vigilant. At the last step, he avoided all kinds of ears and eyes and quietly escaped. Lin Hao's biological father was skinned by the people in the park because he did not complete the target. Over the years, Lin Hao has always believed it and rewarded it. Naturally, he took all the benefits of my family. His parents also got used to him more and more. He failed to start a business and lost all his family's savings, not to mention stealing the real estate certificate mortgage. If my parents hadn't found out in time, I'm afraid the whole family would have to live in the bridge cave now. Our family has done enough over the years. Everything is up to our conscience and we don't owe anyone at all. Alright, is it Miaomiao who is restless? Lin Hao, you stare wide-eyed and see what you married. She, Lu Lingli, is a restless troublemaker. Seeing that my father was really angry, my brother didn't dare to speak. He just stared at me as if he had a deep hatred for me. Dad, how can you say that to me? There can't be no sober person in this family. I'm just helping you see Lin Miaomiao, the old white-eyed wolf. What's wrong with me? The sister-in-law opened her mouth with a grudge, looking like she had been wronged. The sister-in-law will not give up if she doesn't achieve her goal. As long as she doesn't follow her, the whole family will be turned upside down, not to mention that there is a brother who spoils her to stir up trouble together. The mother, who has always been short-tempered, was also a little impatient and simply said, "The notice has been sent out, so just say what you want to do." Lu Lingli changed her decadent appearance and sat up straight, showing her first sincere smile of the day. She is a girl. What's the use of studying so much? You don't have to marry someone else. Now spending money is a loss-making business. What's more, girls are not as smart as boys. You can keep up with the progress in high school, but you may not be in college. Don't spend money in vain at that time. You must also understand the empty ideal of the bamboo basket. I have to tell you, this is a boys' school, and my brother has recently been looking for a job without a diploma. Although he graduated from technical secondary school, he is flexible and will definitely be able to keep up with the progress. This notice was given to him to play the greatest use. I smiled. I don't know whether I was angry or stupid by her. After circling such a big circle, feelings are seeking welfare for that gangster brother. Does she think that the rules and regulations and inspection process of the university are stupid and can be replaced casually? 5. Lu Lingli is a foodie demon, and our whole family knows about it. After all, in order to save her precious brother, she even sacrificed herself to seduce and promise to marry my brother. Speaking of my sister-in-law's younger brother, my brother still has a little connection with him. Lin Hao has no other ability. He is arrogant and has nowhere to show. He always feels that his ability is amazing, and he can fly to the sky with only one opportunity. But the reality is, he followed the so-called successful people who came out early to break into the society to start a business. He almost lost all his family property on the grounds of a little way. Even the mortgage of the property failed, and he stubbornly ran to his father's company to ask for money, which made my father lose his face at an old age and almost lost his job. That nobleman is Lu Heng, Lu Lingli's younger brother. Later, after the persuasion of his family and the popularization of legal awareness, Lin Hao found that he had been deceived by Lu Heng. All the money went into Lu Heng's pocket, and he gambled and lost everything. On impulse, Lin Hao was going to block people with a kitchen knife. I didn't think that I didn't see Lu Heng at all, but I hooked up with Lu Lingli. Lu Lingli coaxed people to the point of anger. One mouth could praise my brother, who had done nothing, to the sky. His heart was floating, and the relationship between the two became more and more like glue. That's all right, and everyone is overjoyed. Not only did Lu Heng not have to repay the arrears of millions, but Lin Hao also pried open the safe, stole the last 500,000 yuan from the family, and gave it to others as a dowry. When I got married, my parents were almost angry to death when they knew the truth, but what could they do? Lu Lingli is pregnant and has to be responsible. Although they were reluctant, the whole family was as disgusted as eating flies. Their parents still pinched their noses and admitted the marriage. However, since then, the word Lu Heng has become a forbidden word in this family. Sure enough, when it came to the name, Dad's face turned a little pale in an instant. His legs were unstable and he covered his heart and shouted, "Medicinal, medicinal, water, water." I was shocked and my heart when it came to the throat I was about to cry. I crawled to the living room to get the quick-acting heart-saving pill, and my mother also rushed to the kitchen to get water. The elder brother put his arms in his hands and was still watching the play. Old immortal things, pretend, pretend again and again. Don't be afraid of pretending too much and become real. Listen, listen. Is this what people say? For more than 20 years, even the pigs in the family have been raised. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I slapped up with all my strength and was ready to fan it. Point 6. With a snap, 5 red fingerprints suddenly appeared clearly on Lin Hao's rough and fleshy face. He was blinded. When he reacted, he wanted to hit me for everything. But he was relieved when he saw the kitchen knife waving in my hand. The mother over there fed her medicine and raised her father's breath. My father finally recovered. My sister-in-law didn't care at all and was still asking for it. "Dad, Mom, I want to say something accurate. Can this notice be given to my brother? That it's really an old lady who got into bed and makes me laugh." Thinking like this, I also laughed out loud. It's different if you haven't read books. It's okay if you're not educated. If you don't have legal awareness, you think you can replace it if you want to, and you're not afraid of stepping on the sewing machine for a few years. Mom followed Dad's anger and said to me, "Yes, clever, I can't do this." The corners of her sister-in-law's mouth drooped and began to sob again. She wiped away the non-existent tears on her face. "Can't do it or don't want to do it. You just bully me that I don't study much. Don't think I don't know. As long as I find someone, it's easy to do it. It's not that you refuse to spend money. I got married and became pregnant with the golden grandson of your Lin family. Even if there is no merit, there are hardships. You can't even meet this requirement. I won't give birth. I'm going back to my mother's house and let your Lin family cut off the incense." Dad's originally straight spine rotted down in an instant, and his whole body seemed to be 10 years old overnight. "Do you really want to go back to your mother's house?" he asked calmly. The sister-in-law looked at her father's gray face and thought he was afraid, so she hurriedly said yes. "Are you going to cut off the incense of our Lin family?" Lu Lingli's eyebrows are about to rise to the sky. The pregnant sister-in-law not only hid my admission notice, but also cried for me to learn from her brother. 39103-inch. Speech table. If this requirement can't be met, why should I give birth to a child for your family? I regret it now. The request just now was just to give the notice to my brother. Now I have to find someone to marry Lin Miaomiao out quickly. I have to make a deal in advance. I have to give me the dowry money. When she is an adult, she will eat and drink me. I will be ashamed of her. Dad, what are you doing?" Before she finished her words, she was driven out by her parents with a broom. "Then get out of here. Don't say that the child in your belly has nothing to do with my Lin family. Even if it is the seed of the Lin family, my family has no heir to the throne. Love is constantly broken. I have put up with you for a long time. Get out of here quickly." After that day, the house was much quieter. It has always been praised. Lin Hao, who was in it, had never been faced by his family. After being kicked out on the spot, he also said harsh words not to beg him to come back. Joke, without this couple, our family of 3 should not have a good life. A waste who has no job and no ability, only knows how to make trouble all the time, and also drags his family to eat old. He really doesn't know how much he has. Lin Hao is stubborn, and Lu Lingli is in line with him. She seemed to know Lin Hao's background. She didn't have the previous order, and she didn't threaten us to cut off the incense. Just a week later he sent me a message. My brother can go to college without your notice." I couldn't help but be curious and asked 2 more questions. The sister-in-law proudly said that she had found a way, 20,000 yuan all-inclusive, and the other party promised to send her brother to the same university as me. At a glance, the sister-in-law was complacent and firmly believed. After many years of friendship, I persuaded her, but she felt that I didn't know how to change. Some things that can be done with a little money, some people are actually tired to study and take the exam. If they read too much, they will become nerds. Miaomiao, it's not my sister-in-law's bragging, it's gold that shines wherever it goes. Although your sister-in-law hasn't read anything, her mind is much more flexible than you. Not to mention my brother. His ability can't keep him without $1 million a year when looking for a job in the future. I shook my head. It's hard to persuade the damn ghost. Since she is going to die, I can't stop her. The retribution came quickly. Near the start of the school year, the so-called door-to-door intermediary cheated his brother-in-law of 30,000 yuan on the grounds of paying the school fee and disappeared. The 30,000 yuan is all their savings. The 2 of them don't have a formal job and are idle all day long. Now they can't afford to pay the rent after being cheated, so they can only come back to ask for help. When I came home from the party with my classmates, I saw my brother and sister-in-law sitting on the sofa. The elder brother was silent, and the sister-in-law put on a bitter melon face and arranged me with my mother. Lin Miaomiao knew for a long time that I would be deceived, but she deliberately didn't tell me and wanted to see my jokes. What's the use of reading so many books? A person with bad character will not be popular anywhere. At a young age, the mind is wrong, and the heart is too vicious. She also thought that as long as she was willing to come back, her parents would hold them as before. Unfortunately, this calculation is doomed to fail. Without their interference, it would be enough for me and my parents to brainwash 800 times in more than a month. When my mother heard the words, she just rolled her eyes and shook off her hand. I blame others for being stupid. The sister-in-law asked her brother for help with tears in her eyes, but the brother just said impatiently that it was almost done. My brother seemed to have really grown up overnight. He often showed goodwill to me. He also posted my notice in the circle of friends with Yu Rongyan, and warned my sister-in-law not to embarrass me. If this little trick can make me really believe that he is getting better, it will be a waste of my time with him for so many years. Sure enough, 2 days before the start of the school year, when I packed my luggage, I found that the notice was missing. I searched the whole house, but I saw the notice torn in half in my brother-in-law's room. They probably think that tearing up the notice can prevent me from going to school and spending money. I was furious on the spot and dropped a lot of things in their room before leaving. The only good thing is that fortunately, now that the internet is developed, the paper version of the notice is not the only proof, but it does not affect my schooling. If I had to put it more than 10 years ago, I had to eat it. After my sister-in-law knew that there was no impact, her face was twisted for a moment. She randomly laughed and said that she had accidentally broken it, and offered to buy me a ticket for compensation. She insisted on taking me to the station and hid the ticket. She must wait until she entered the station to give it to me. I was alert for a moment. Isn't this a ghost? As a result, when I turned on my mobile phone and checked, I found that the green leather was bought for me for more than 1,800 kilometers. There are no tickets for the change of tickets, so we can only return temporarily. In the face of her parents' questioning, my sister-in-law screamed and didn't repent. What did I do wrong? I'm all for the good. She is spoiled by your family. If a woman doesn't suffer more, how can she serve men in the future? How can I get married? For a moment my anger came straight to my head, and I didn't care that she was pregnant, so I slapped her. That it's really disgusting that it doesn't bite people. Fortunately, my parents took care of me, and they immediately decided to drive me to school, so there was no delay. 7. College life is wonderful. I study hard and make many interesting friends. In addition, I actively participated in community activities, and learned to put on makeup. I didn't care much about those bad things at home. I only knew that my parents missed my sister-in-law when she was a big month, and it was not safe and inconvenient to rent a house. I still agreed that the two people lived in the house. Near the winter vacation, my sister-in-law gave birth to a little boy. A new population has been added to the family, and parents also like children, so the relationship with the brother and sister-in-law has eased a lot. Specifically, they actually agreed that their sister-in-law and younger brother Lu Heng would come to my house for the spring festival. However, my parents are not stupid. Agreeing to their temporary stay does not mean forgiveness. They did not provide any more financial support, so the life of the two is still tight. At the same time, Zhang Yu, a rich second-generation roommate of mine, didn't come home because her parents were busy working all year round. We got along and invited her back for the spring festival. Mom couldn't help but be overjoyed when she heard it and began to plan a large table of rich dishes early. When we got home it was just noon. Zhang Yu and I went into the room with our luggage, and my sister-in-law got up. After a face-to-face meeting, she curled her lips disdainfully and said strangely, "Yo, I also learned to put on makeup. I don't know whether to study or seduce men." I didn't bother to pay attention to it, so I directly asked Zhang Yu to take a seat. But as soon as he sat down, he noticed that Lu Heng's unkind eyes fell on Zhang Yu, and from time to time he came to his sister-in-law's ear to discuss something. The two brothers and sisters were full of excitement in their eyes. Lu Heng is lawless. He is not only good at gambling, but also has been in the game for molesting women. I kept an eye on it and slept in the same room with Zhang Yu at night. For several days in a row we were safe. I almost thought I was too much. Just when I was slacking off, something suddenly happened. My parents and brother went out to visit relatives on the first month. I have never liked this kind of occasion. In addition, Zhang Yu was a guest to entertain, so I didn't follow. My sister-in-law wants to take Yuan Bao with her and stay at home. That night, there was a scream in Zhang Yu's house. I woke up from my sleep, first called the police and then ran out quickly. But her mouth was covered by her sister-in-law. She said viciously, "Don't meddle. My brother hasn't tasted college students yet. I want you to look good at his good deeds. When he cooks raw rice and cooks rice, he takes down this rich man and leaves her here. Can't you follow him?" I can't speak, so I can only shake my head all the time. Brother, hurry up. This bitch has a sister to watch over you. She used to do farm work and she was so strong that I couldn't break free. I'm so angry that I brought this trick to my home. Is there any law in your eyes? Yu Guang caught a glimpse of the scissors on the coffee table beside him. I didn't care about anything else. I wanted to reach out and get it, but was found by Lu Lingli. She dragged me away from all sharp objects. At the same time, the hand on her neck tightened so hard that it was almost suffocating. Looking through the open door, even if he struggled, Jiang Yu's clothes had been torn. A huge sense of powerlessness swept over, almost drowning me. I closed my eyes and a trace of sadness overflowed from my throat, and I couldn't help feeling desperate. At the critical moment, the police arrived. The joys and sorrows of the rest of my life after the robbery made me collapse to the ground. I was sweating coldly and wet all over, as if I had run 10 kilometers in the 40-degree hot sun in the middle of summer. I didn't care about the pinching wound on my neck. I used my hands and feet to crawl around Jiang Yu, who was trembling, and patted her back to gently comfort her. It's okay, it's okay. 8. Lu Lingli and Lu Heng were arrested. At first, they tried to argue, saying that it was a family affair, and their mother was dissodient, so they taught a lesson. When the police asked them to show evidence, they were speechless. Lu Heng's eyes rolled and he said, "It's all my sister's idea. Mr. Policeman, if you don't believe me, you can take a look at my chat records with my sister. She encouraged me." Lu Lingli's face was shocked and subconsciously argued, "No, I didn't." But when he met Lu Heng's warning gaze, he suddenly lost his voice. She opened her mouth silently, her face was pale, and she nodded like ashes. "You're right, it's me." It's not the first time for Lu Heng to do such a thing. Obviously, he is much smarter than his sister and doesn't leave much handle. All the chat records show that he was instructed by Lu Lingli. It's amazing to go to college. They are all women. Why does she live like a princess? If such a person stays in our mountains to be everyone's daughter-in-law, she will have to obey me at that time. When both of them are innocent, if they still dare to go to school, I will take some naked photos to go to school to see if they still have the face to continue their studies. Hurry up. When you're done, remember to send Lin Miaomiao, the money-losing goods, to the village and sell it to the cripple at the entrance of the village as his wife. The dowry is 100,000 yuan, and we will share it. It can be seen from the information that Lu Lingli encouraged his brother to commit crimes because of jealousy. But how can I let them get their wishes? As early as the night when Jiang Yu asked me to move back to my room and want to sleep alone, I made sufficient preparations. I picked up the surveillance camera at the dead corner of the table in Jiang Yu's room, and handed it over to the police. It records the whole process of Lu Lingli's sister and brother's crime, including what they said. Facts speak louder than words. By the time my parents and Lin Hao came back, everything had already settled. As a woman, her mother is very sympathetic and knows how much Jiang Yu will be hurt if they succeed in this matter. A gentle person like her mother is self-sensible. She has never lost her temper at home. She picked up the chair of the police station for the first time and smashed it on Lu Lingli. The elder brother stretched out his hand to stop it, looking contemptuous and disdainful. Isn't there nothing wrong? As for such a big deal? Pretentious. Hurry up and let me out. If something happens to my wife and brother-in-law, I want Yuan Bao not to recognize you. But at this time no one had time to pay attention to him. On the contrary, the chair in his mother's hand turned a corner and smashed directly at him. If it hadn't been for the police, Lin Hao would have been in the hospital by now. Lu Lingli's sister and brothers must spend the whole new year in the police station. In addition, Jiang Yu and I will work hard to collect evidence, and the legal sanctions are waiting for them. 9. On the way home, my brother was angry and said that he would take Yuan Bao away, so that his parents would have no grandchildren to hold, and he would not give his parents a pension in the future. Dad slapped him and asked him to be safe. After a long time, he shook his head and sighed that the family was unlucky. This road didn't work, and my brother came to beg me to threaten me again, messing around all the way. But after getting out of the car, he had no time to take care of himself. A woman with messy hair, thin bones and a pale face rushed up and scratched Lin Hao's face. In no time her skin was cracked and her blood was like a note. The woman's voice was sharp like an evil ghost who climbed into hell and locked his soul. "Lin Hao, give me my money, give me." Lin Hao kicked the person away and said in a panic, "What did you say? I don't understand. Get out of here quickly." The bag in Dad's hand fell to the ground. He opened his mouth silently and asked tentatively, "Yunxia." "Yunxia, I heard this name when I was very young and now I hear it again and I'm a little in a trance." She is the wife of his friend Yang Jingyuan and Lin Hao's biological mother. After the death of Lin Hao's biological father, the cruel woman immediately remarried. In the winter, Lin Hao, who was wearing shorts, was thrown directly to my door. If his parents hadn't finished the business trip early, Lin Hao would have died on that freezing night. Since then, his father has regarded him as his own and has been warning him not to contact his mother, who has a heart like a snake and scorpion, in the future. The woman named Yunxia had no time to pay attention to my father. She just grabbed Lin Hao's collar and asked for money. "Where the fuck did I get the money? You have sucked my blood for so many years. Don't think that I don't know what you are doing. If you don't know what, I will send you into the game. In fact, Lin Hao is indeed penniless. After his parents don't subsidize, he and his sister-in-law can't protect themselves. Yuan Bao's milk powder and clothes are all purchased by his mother himself. In addition to maintaining food and clothing, the brother and sister-in-law can't get a penny from her mother. From a woman's epilepsy from the crazy words, it was learned that Lin Hao had not cut off contact with her for so many years, and secretly gave her a lot of money. I glanced at the afterglow and suddenly saw several pinholes on the slender arm. Once the suspicion was born, many things became more and more obvious. I shook my hands and secretly sent a text message to the police, quietly pulling my parents and Jiang Yu away from them. Facing Yunxia, Lin Hao looked like a dead pig and an iron rooster who was not afraid of boiling water. Ha 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 ha. Yunxia suddenly laughed without warning. Since you don't give me money, you don't have a good life. She turned her head to look at her father, with the madness that destroyed everything in her eyes. Her eyes were bright and she said, "You don't really think that Lin Hao is Yang Jingyuan, do you? Is it fun to raise your son for more than 20 years by your enemy?" Lin Hao ran over and grabbed his father's pants. Dad, she's crazy. Don't listen to him. I'm my father's own son. She lied to you. Don't believe it. You won't really believe it, will you? I don't know where this wild species came from. Oh, by the way, I have known this wild species for a long time and lied to you for so many years. Half of your money was lost by him and half of it was spent by me. Ha 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 ha. Although Yunxia's mind is a little unclear and her speech is crooked, we still extracted a lot of information points. Lin Hao was picked up by Yunxia from the roadside. After pregnancy, Yang Jingyuan was not at home all year round. Yunxia couldn't stand the loneliness and got along with other men, but accidentally gave birth. It happened that Yang Jingyuan could not come back from abroad at that time. He not only found a clue, but also facilitated Yunxia's dark box operation. Therefore, Dad's behavior over the years is just self-touching, and even a complete joke in the eyes of Lin Hao and his son. Drip. Dad froze in place, and the smartwatch in his hand sounded a sharp alarm. Dad! I shouted to help him, but it was still a step late. I watched him collapse to the ground. 10. The ambulance came in time. Dad had a sudden cerebral infarction and various complications. After entering the hospital, the doctor made a judgment and rushed to get a thrombolytic injection within 4 hours. At present, he has woken up, but his whole body seems to be withered and lost his spirit. I don't know whether it's because of the sequelae or the unwillingness to face the reality. Our group got into the ambulance, and only Lin Hao and his son were still pulling in place. The police quickly went to the police when they received my message. They found Yunxia according to my description, but it was a little different from the scene I described. She fell into a pool of blood, and a knife was still stuck in her abdomen. When she reached out, she was out of breath. Lin Hao was not seen at the scene. After killing, he fled in fear of crime. When I heard the news, my eyelids jumped wildly. I packed up all night and heard good news when I was about to take my father to the hospital. It took the police 2 days to finally catch Lin Hao. Lin Hao has hid back to Yunxia's hometown, but according to the police interrogation, he was not willing to let our family be alive, so he risked to come back and do it. So he was keenly detected by the casual clothes squatting near the hospital and caught. After hearing my paraphrase, my parents were completely disappointed this time. Even Yuan Bao was sent to Lu Lingli's mother's house. When the child was still young, his parents gritted their teeth and put tens of thousands of yuan in his swaddle. As for what his future life will be like, we can neither predict nor care about it. Later, after a just trial, Lu Heng and Lu Lingli, as the main offenders and accomplices, were sentenced to 5 and 3 years respectively for attempted rape, and received the punishment they deserved. Lin Hao is sentenced to 20 years for intentional murder. Our family lived in a different city. No one told us. We just wanted to stay away from this place of right and wrong completely. Jiang Yu almost suffered a disaster, but she felt that it was not my fault and did not blame me. She even thanked me for saving her desperately. After this, our relationship has become stronger. Even when I got married, she offered to be my bridesmaid. If you are a friend like this, what can you ask for? Dad has recovered well. He can run and jump. With the burden of his brother-in-law and children, he concentrates on his work, and even his career is more like a fish in water. After the success of starting a business in my later years, I will become a rich second generation just around the corner. In a word, the light boat has crossed thousands of mountains. In the future, our lives will only be better.